Hello, welcome to the Drupal lab. This is our fourth video on this series about my personal Drupal development virtual machine. Okay, this one I want to be as quick as possible. What are we going to learn here? Well, how to do PHP debugging from Vim, directly from the command line. It isn't really as powerful or as comfortable as it can be from an actual IDE, but I do like it, truth be told. So why not share how to do it? And also I didn't find like a good video on it on YouTube. So I think it's a good idea too because of that. Good. I'll start going right into the meat. So we'll just go and see how to do debugging, how to get the debugger up running, actually not configured because everything is on automatically, right, on the provisioning of the virtual machine. So let's go for that, and at the end I'll explain how to install and configure, so you can wait at the end for that specific part. Good. Okay, so let me just go in. I'll check what the status is for our virtual machine. It is running, so I can run background SSH. Now that I'm here, I can just go in and get into this site. The status of this site, remember this is a local copy of my personal website. So this is doing a successful bootstrap, so we are good to go, right? Okay, here you see the site, and before proceeding, or the first thing that we are going to do here is this. I'm going to check on the console, oh, it should be done by cookies, right? But I don't have an extension here. I'll pause, I'll be back soon. Okay, just look at the documentation. There's two methods, right? So one is by appending a get parameter here. That's the one that I'm going to use. The parameter is XDebug session start, right? I'm not going to reload, I'll just write it there. That's one method. There's another method by using a cookie, by setting a cookie, but I don't have an extension for doing that installed in this account for this browser, so I won't use that method. Okay, great. Now I haven't loaded the page. I'll just come in and load it up here. Actually, it isn't like needed to open anything, but I'll open this file just to start, like to make sure that we are on this, right? We are debugging. So this is configured. You can simply hit F5. You can read down below. It's waiting for a connection there. Now you can come in here and hit this one. Let me get this window a bit smaller. Now hit that, right? You see it's just loading there forever. You see there, right? And it'll be like that while the debugger is running. And you see our Vim instance now has a new tab in this case, and it has the debugger running. You see the state of the debugger. You see this marker of the current line, and also there is a watch, there is the stack, the call stack, and this is just a general status, right? So it's simply giving you general information. So how can you step? So step over F2. That's the default key bindings, right? That's a step over. Now to step into, you use F3. I'm going to go into the main code for this, right? So this is the mini execute active handler function. Good. And you can be there, and you can say, hey, I want to go and run to this line. So how do I do that? F9. And that way it'll run and stop right there. How can you set breakpoints? Okay, so for setting breakpoints, you can simply do this. Let's say this one should run, I guess. So you just type breakpoint like that, okay? Capital V, uppercase V. And you'll get a line looking like that, okay? And to just run and stop, in this case, it will stop on the breakpoint, but if no breakpoint is found, it'll just run till the end. You hit F5, so that's the key to just run. And as you see, our breakpoint just stopped execution, and we can just continue doing step over, step into, and everything like that, right? Good. So that way you can do the general steps. Now, another important aspect of this is being able to evaluate lines or read directly values of variables. So you'll find that the watch window here does provide you with the basic information, or like actually the information for all the current scope, right? So that's the locals. If you get the cursor on top of superglobals and hit enter, you'll see the superglobals for this request, right? There they are. Okay, good. Now, let me get back to the locals. Great. And now that we're in the locals, I'll let you see another possibility. So you can highlight any text that is a correct instruction in PHP, right? So in this case, it's just a variable that is visible in our current scope. And then hit letter E, right? I do have a personal customized key for letter, but you can see what you can just check your Vim configuration for what the letter is. If I recall correctly, it's just slash, right? If I recall correctly, but I'm not sure. You should check if you're using like a personal configuration for Vim. And that way you can see this is not showing like the full watch window information as it was before, but just the evaluation for this specific variable, and that you can do for any other line that you want. Also, you may want to change something. So for example, you can say there is a variable, let's say like I want to add something to the router item, right? So router item is an array right here. You can see there. So you can just, let's say I want just add something by writing a custom PHP line. For that, I just type colon vdebug eval, and then write the line that corresponds to that. Okay, so I'll just type router item and let's say dummy, right? Let's try like a very random name, whatever, nothing, you know, just something that is guaranteed to be random. And you can just say, hey, I want for you to read new value there. Okay, so if we run this, you'll see we have for router item a new entry inside that array having a value of new value. Good. So you can just change, for example, a variable while running your code. For example, I could just change the deliver. Let's see, this is 1. I can say don't deliver, right? And what it'll do is it'll just run the else case for this. So that way I was able to modify the flow of my code, of my program. Okay, that's the kind of magic that you can do with a debugger. Excellent. Let me pause just a little bit and check if there's something else that I should be including in this explanation here. Okay, I think I'll go with just a couple more details. First, in the watch window, you can open items that do have internal content like an array by just getting your cursor on the current line, that line, and hitting enter. Right, so that way you can see what is inside. And on the other hand, you can also go to the watch and step on the line for the stack call that you want and just get there, right? So in this case, I can see like, hey, where did this came from? Okay, this ran from line 21 on index.php. And now, where am I? I'm on line 534, right, on the current file. Good. Okay, so that's it on the usage part. Now I'll go on to configuration, onto how to get this properly installed and configured. I'll explain it using the files in the provisioning for the system, but I'll point where you can find like the indications for configuring it manually in case you want to do that. Okay, so I'll pause, clean a little bit my window, and I'll be back soon. Okay, I'm back. Good. So what do you need to do to get a working XDebug installation also integrated with Vim to be able to do debugging from Vim, right? Good. For that you need like just 3 things to do. First one is getting XDebug set up. XDebug is the actual extension doing the hard work here. Okay, this is the main component. Good. So for XDebug you have to install the package. Good. So the package name on Debian based systems, remember this virtual machine is based off Ubuntu 12.04, specifically 32 bits. You'll have to use this package name, right? So if you want to do it manually, how do you do the installation? You would install it like this. Sudo apt-get install php5-xdebug, right? Well, not inside of Vim, of course, but on your command line like this. Sudo apt-get install php5-xdebug. Sorry if this is too basic for you, I just want to help some newbies. Okay, good. So sudo apt-get install php5-xdebug, you get the extension installed, right? Next step, you need to enable it. So for that, this Puppet resource here is the one responsible. So how do you enable it? In the system where you're running XDebug, sorry for that, I think that sounded ugly on the microphone, sorry. The file that you must create for this, which is for getting XDebug running, actually being loaded by PHP specifically, this is the file that you must edit, right? You see php5 conf.d xdebug.ini. This is a possibility. You can also do it directly in php.ini, but it's best to use conf.d directories for configuration, right? So that's the name of it. And what content specifically? Well, just these lines. Let me highlight everything there. So these are the values that I use. For one, this extension is located in that place, so you can look up in your system. If it's located somewhere else, you can just find the find command to find it. And there is also possibility to remove debugging, all that stuff. In this case, I'm using port 9000 for this configuration, right? So this is the second step, updating php.ini or creating a custom ini file inside of conf.d. Now, if you do that, you'll have to reload Apache, okay? Because else PHP or Apache won't see the extension loaded. It won't get the extension loaded just by creating this file. So that is important. You'll have to restart, specifically restart Apache. Great. So that'll be the first part. Install XDebug and get it loading with PHP. Next step, getting the actual plugin for Vim installed and properly configured. So I did this via pathogen. So for that I used a command relying on curl. I created a custom resource for curl in this Puppet provisioning. So the URL that is used is this here. You may want to download it manually, and the location of the file is just this one here, right? You download the file from the source URL and put it exactly in this location inside the virtual machine. In this case, it's inside the virtual machine. Now remember, right after home, this name here, this is the username, so you'll have to replace with your correct username. Okay, this is of course only, this explanation only applies for Linux machines. Okay, and also you'll have to create a couple directories. So there is like 2 directories that must be created. There is this one, the auto load. Remember, replace Vagrant with your user. And also there is the one for bundles. So this is the one that you must create. Once again, remember, not Vagrant, use your username. And finally, you'll have to do a git clone of this repository here. Excepting the ampersand, so right up to this place. Okay. So that's the repository from GitHub. You simply clone it. And what must be the current working directory for that? Well, the one indicated here in current working directory. Again, not Vagrant, your username. Okay. So it must be, you must cd to this specific bundle directory, and when you are there, you can just run this command to get the repository cloned in there and loading properly. So since you installed Pathogen will just pick up this plugin and it'll load it automatically, right? So that's an easy way to do it. Good. So now you have it installed. We have XDebug installed and also properly configured. You restart Apache, and also you installed Pathogen probably, and Vdebug, right? The Vdebug plugin inside Vim. Good. What else you may want to do? This is just an extra step. It's not required, but I like to do it. These 3 lines in my vimrz. This one I'm showing you is just a custom vimrz, my personal vimrz, the one that is provisioned by default with inside the virtual machine. Is a simpler one, but it includes these lines. So the important part here is this line. So you see the watch window style variable. The watch window style variable for Vdebug options is going to use the compact format. So each single line will have data there. If you don't do this, it'll just default to expanded, and expanded will just use like 1 line with data, 1 line empty, 1 line of data, 1 line empty, and like that. And I don't like to waste the space, so that's why I prefer the compact format. Okay, and by doing that, you are just ready to go. Correct? You do that configuration, and you're ready to just do some. You just are ready to go into debugging from Vim of your PHP application. It is not restricted just to Drupal. Okay. Great. Now, as a final bonus for this, I'll go for something that I should have covered earlier, but I just didn't have my script in front of me. Wasn't really like following it, and it is doing debugging a Drush command. Okay, but before that, now that I say my script, I remembered something. If you want to see the full documentation for all of this, which may be very useful, you can just run help vdebug inside of Vim vdebug. Okay, and Vim will present you with this help from vdebug. Of course, you must be running Vim after you installed vdebug. And here you can read, yeah, but everything is right here. You can see how to install. You can see all the steps that I showed you. And also you can see how I'm going to show you how to be able to debug a Drush command. Right? Great. So here you find all the reference documentation. Also, you may want to search for how to set a cookie for XDebug. It's just everywhere in the web if you want to look up on that. Right? Good. And let's now go for our Drush debugging. Good. As you can see, I am running now on my host operating system, but I want to just go into the virtual machine. So background SSH, and I'm in. Now I'm just going to go to this place here, and let's try first running the command normally, right? Cool. There it is. Nice. It's just doing a successful bootstrap. Excellent. Now, what are we going to do now? I'll need a new terminal here. Let me put this one up and this one down, right? A little bit of organization there. And I'll just get into the virtual machine also. So this one up here is going to be my Vim instance, or run Vim here. And just to be a little bit more organized, I'll just start something here, but it isn't really needed. And on this side here, I'll just do something. So for that, I'll just rely on the Vdebug help, and here I'll just go and look for an export line, which is this one here. So this one line, you can simply run it XDebug config equals, and then set IDE key to this value here. The IDE key is customizable, right? But this one will just do it. XDebug config, good. So we do export on that. We have that variable there. Good. So thanks, Vdebug help. Now I'll just do this couple steps. First, I'll get Vim listening, or actually Vdebug listening for connections to the debugger, to XDebug, correct? So for that, I hit F5. And next, I'll simply run the Drush command. Boom. And you can see it just started there immediately. And you can see also we are running Drush here. So this is user share PHP Drush, drush.php. Excellent. So that's how you can get Drush commands into your debugger, into XDebug, to be, checked, analyzed, so you can probably contribute to it. Great. And for the rest of your debugging session, you can just apply what I explained at the beginning of the video, or if you want to know like everything, just read the Vdebug documentation on Vim, and that'll give you lots of tips and ideas on how to use it. Great. I'll just hit F5 to get it running. Great. It ran and it produced the actual output. So that's it. There is nothing more needed to do it. As you can see, this virtual machine is equipped just to work out of the box. It is ready to use. You don't have to worry. But in case you need to do it manually, like install everything manually, I just showed you all the steps. Didn't give you every single line, but it's easy to assemble from what I explained. Good. Hope you like this. Hope you enjoy debugging your Drupal site, or maybe your PHP applications. Goodbye.